We have a challenge when it comes to housing and homelessness in this country, and it's a serious one. My concern tonight is that the motivation that has brought us to this debate is not a genuine one. Nevertheless, I am the Minister for Housing. I am responsible for housing and homelessness in this country, and I'm accountable to this House as I always have been. I know all too well that people are hurting in this crisis because I meet them every week in my job. And it's my determination as Minister to see them through and see them right at the end of this crisis. Rebuilding Ireland is our housing plan. It is constantly being reformed and improved, and that can only happen with the support of this House because we are a minority government. And it has happened quite a lot. So, for example, when I was appointed as Minister and I increased our social house build targets by 30% and secured €500 million to do it, I was supported by this House. When I brought forward some of the most progressive rent reforms earlier this year, I did so with the support of this House. Earlier today, we approved new regulation, a new regulator for the housing body sector, again with the support of this House. And last year I lifted the height cap on buildings like apartments, again with the support of this House. Reforms have been made under Rebuilding Ireland. Before we talk about all of the challenges that we have for renters, for first-time buyers, for people who are in overcrowded accommodation, people at the sharpest end of this crisis, people who are sleeping rough on the streets, or families in emergency accommodation, we have to talk about supply, because it's the fundamental problem that we face. Why do we face it? Because our housing sector was broken in the past. In 2013, only 4,500 homes were built in this state. In 2014, just over 400 social housing homes were built in this state. So people will throw around facts and figures, and so will I. There are certain facts that we can't escape from. Rebuilding Ireland was launched in the middle of 2016. It committed to 125,000 new places to live by the end of 2021. We still have 2 years to go, but already we have delivered 64,000 new places to live, 26,000 new homes started under construction on new sites in the last 12 months, and more than 30,000 homes have planning permission, and it is growing. To look at that, in 2013, 4,500 homes built. This year we'll build more than 20,000. That's the most that we've done in a decade. In 2014, only 419 social housing homes built. This year we'll build more than 6,000. Next year will be a record year. We'll build more social housing homes next year than we have in 2 decades. And think about that. Think about that. Over 6,000 social housing homes built this year, over 20,000 private homes built this year. 1 in 3 of every home being built this year is for social housing. And people say that we're reliant on the market for our solutions. It's a nonsense. People say that we're not ambitious in our targets. It's a nonsense. Next year, we'll build more social housing homes than were built in any of the boom years. And they are facts that we cannot escape. Rebuilding Ireland is working. And as supply increases, we are locking in affordability. 50,000 new homes have been built by first-time buyers, bought by first-time buyers since 2016. A CSO number, not my own. Help to Buy has supported 15,000 households in that time. The Rebuilding Ireland Home Loan, more than 1,000 households. We now have a shared equity affordability scheme, which the deputies call for. It exists. It'll help a couple on €55,000, a teacher and a nurse, buy a new home in Dublin. It'll help a single person on €36,000 buy a new home in Cork. And the Rebuilding Ireland Home Loan, because we've done studies on this, is helping chefs and carpenters and lorry drivers to buy homes. We are helping people to buy homes, and we are not relying on the market to do it. We are putting the taxpayers' money in to drive that delivery, and these are facts from the CSO. Our work isn't finished, but we are making progress. And another number that is important is the number of people in emergency accommodation, 10,514. It was just under 8,000 when I came into office. So I'm answerable for that increase too. But I'm also answerable for the more than 12,000 people who've left homelessness since I came into office because of the huge efforts that I've put in this area. What's the solution of the Social Democrats? A motion of no confidence. To say Rebuilding Ireland is failing. Not once have they come into the Joint Oireachtas Committee to question me on Rebuilding Ireland. Not once. I brought forward one of the most progressive rent bills this year.
Minister Murphy, without interruption.
People exiting the private rental sector is one of the biggest challenges we have when it comes to emergency accommodation. They didn't put down one amendment to that bill. And Deputy Murphy wants to know what you should say to people who are worried about their children not being able to afford homes. Look to your left, because your colleague has spoken against emergency accommodation in her constituency, social housing in her constituency, and apartments building in her constituency as well. The greatest crime in public life is to say one thing in public and do another. And this debate is full of hypocrisies. Sinn Féin will be supporting the motion, although when it first came out they called it a stunt. They should know what a stunt looks like when it comes to housing. Mary Lou says that if she's in government, she'll have the most ambitious social housing programme in the state. Look at what we're doing. Next year, a record year for social housing delivery. These are the types of reforms that we're making under Rebuilding Ireland. Our work isn't finished yet, but we continue to make progress. We continue to see our plans through because we recognise that people are hurting in this crisis. We recognise that 2 generations now have been condemned by housing failures of previous governments. And we're committed to not condemning any future generations to those types of failures again through short-term thinking. Thank you.
Taoiseach.